The Fall Guy, which, as David Leitch and Ryan Gosling prefaced at the beginning of the film, is definitely a love letter to the stuntmen who perform all of the stunts and action sequences within every film. Now, The Fall Guy, directed by David Leitch, who directed John Wick and that Bullet Train film, which I honestly love both of those films. And The Fall Guy, I did enjoy The Fall Guy, but it does have a lot of problems, mainly in the pacing, and I'll get to that. The acting alone, Ryan Gosling, honestly, I love Ryan Gosling as an actor. Even that piece of shit Barbie movie, I still thought Ryan Gosling was the absolute best part of the Barbie film. Everything else was a dumpster fire. Ryan Gosling is a really good actor. Emily Blunt is a good actress. I mean, to me, she doesn't really stand out by the likes of like Margot Robbie or Lady Gaga, but Emily Blunt is always a good actress. She just kind of comes in and does her job. The one bright light I loved about this film is I had no idea that my boy Kick-Ass, Aaron Taylor Johnson, was in this film. And honestly, in this film, his character, when he's on screen, he kind of steals the show every time that he's on screen. I don't know if he tried being method in this role, but he nails his character in this part. And it's a shame because really in a 2-hour film, he's only in this film like 10 to 15 minutes. But otherwise though, I mean, all of the actors and actresses and even the stuntmen and the director and the writers did their jobs with this very commendable film. And I really enjoyed this film. This film looks great. I love the stunts in this film, and I love the homage at the end of the film as well as the beginning, explaining that this is a love letter to 4 stuntmen, and at the very end it actually shows the stuntmen making this film, and I love that. I really appreciated that David Leitch does not forget where he came from. Before he was a director, he was a stuntman. Now, my gripes in The Fall Guy mainly come in with the pacing, and that's not even really the writing, because the writing's fine. The writing is basically about a retired stuntman trying to get back into it for the love of his life, and with that aspect in mind, the story and the plotting of the film makes sense. The biggest problem I have, though, is just how inconsistent and padded this film was, especially in the first hour. This film's main flaw is it doesn't really know how to continue. Like, the story will progress, and Ryan Gosling's character will have to go to a place and then find somebody or do something, and then in there's padding of Jody will randomly call him and have a full-blown conversation with him, which is comical. Those scenes are very funny in this film, but the biggest problem is that they prolong the film because all those scenes, and there are so many of these scenes, they pad the fucking film out. They're so prolonged, they're so super extended that this film honestly did not need to be 2 hours. If they had done those scenes and chopped them at least in half for the runtime, this could have easily been a really excellent hour 40, hour 45 minute film. But this was a 2-hour film that super dragged on from 15 minutes into the film to about the halfway point, and then even the ending felt so overstretched. Now, even though I said that, I still really enjoyed the writing and direction and everything about this film, but I had to be honest. This film, it's not slow, but it just feels so goddamn padded throughout, where you want the story to progress, but then some random thing happens where everybody in the film is at a standstill. And once or twice, yeah, that's comical, that's funny, but they do it like 4 or 5 times, and then also every single time is super extended scenes after scenes of that same bullshit. And that I really hate about this film. Overall though, The Fall Guy is an entertaining film that looks really good. It's well acted. I would say Ryan Gosling didn't really give it his all in this film, as the likes of like Barbie or other shit he's been in, but he still did a really commendable job. Like I said, Emily Blunt's always just there. She always does a good job. David Leitch directed this well for the most part. Like I said, there's a lot of inconsistency in the way that this was made. But overall for me, The Fall Guy is a really entertaining film with a lot of slowed down flaws to it, but it's an 8 out of 10. Thank you.